Okay, so are you ready to dive into the world of Tom Cruise? I mean, the guy's been a Hollywood legend forever, right? But like, how did he go from almost being a priest to being like the biggest action star ever? That's what we're going to try to figure out today. And our main source, his Wikipedia page.
Yeah, it's actually a gold mine. You find these little details on Wikipedia sometimes that really change how you see someone. Like, did you know Cruz almost became a priest?
Seriously, that's wild.
Yeah.
Totally different from like hanging off skyscrapers and stuff, which he seems to do a lot of.
Exactly. It makes you think about how unpredictable life can be.
Right. Like we see the movie star, but there's this whole other side to him. And his childhood sounds like it really shaped who he is today.
Oh, absolutely. Wikipedia says he was born in Syracuse, New York. Family struggled financially. Plus, he had a tough relationship with his dad, and on top of that, dyslexia.
Wow, that's a lot to deal with.
Imagine attending 15 schools in 14 years.
15. Seriously, I can't even imagine.
That kind of instability could really mess someone up. But with Cruz, it seems like it made him stronger, more resilient.
15 schools, though. It's hard to imagine having a normal childhood with that much moving around, let alone finding time for acting.
It shows a real adaptability, which is huge in Hollywood, right? And that time thinking about priesthood, even if it was short-lived, maybe it hints at this early desire for a life demanding commitment and dedication,
Hmm. Yeah, I see what you mean.
the same qualities that define his work ethic today.
It's true, that intensity he brings to every role, whether it's learning some crazy stunt for Mission Impossible or becoming a completely different person like Ron Kovic and Born on the 4th of July, it's like it was always there, just channeled in different ways.
Exactly. And that takes us to those early career choices that made him a star. If you look at his filmography, especially in the 80s, you can see a clear strategy to show his range and become a box office hit.
I mean, you've got Top Gun, where he's this cocky pilot, then bam, he's a Vietnam vet in Born on the 4th of July. That's some serious range right there.
And it's not just about playing different characters, it's about completely embodying them. You believe him every single time.
Totally. But those early roles, they weren't just about showing off, right?
Right. Working with directors like Martin Scorsese in The Color of Money and Oliver Stone for Born on the 4th of July, I mean, come on, that's huge for his career. Puts him right up there with the best.
It's like he's playing this whole other game, making sure every movie makes him a bigger star.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of strategy, we have to mention Roger Ebert, the film critic. He had this idea of the Tom Cruise picture.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the Tom Cruise picture?
It's like a formula he uses, a pattern in a lot of his big hits. Ebert said it's this story where Cruise starts as the underdog, but then he masters some skill, finds romance, and takes down a powerful enemy.
So there's a method to the Cruise madness. I like it. Give me an example.
Top Gun. Yeah. Right. He's this hotshot pilot who needs to learn some discipline, falls for his instructor, goes up against those rival pilots. Classic.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Or A Few Good Men. He's a lawyer, becoming amazing in the courtroom, dealing with the whole military system, facing down that tough colonel.
True, true. And you can't forget about Mission Impossible. Ethan Hunt, always doing the impossible, outsmarting everyone and juggling his crazy life. It's like clockwork.
Right. It's a formula, but it works.
Yeah.
Audiences love it. It's those exciting high-stakes stories that keep you hooked. But here's the question. Does sticking to a formula mean you're not as versatile? Or is it proof that you know how to give the audience what they want? It's a tough one.
It really is. I mean, you could argue it both ways, but with Cruise, I think it's a bit of both. He knows what works, but he puts everything into each role, making it more than just a formula. And you see that especially in his action roles, right? I mean, the guy's famous for doing his own stunts.
Oh, absolutely. Hanging off buildings, clinging to planes, holding his breath underwater for like 6 minutes in Mission Impossible. Who does that?
It's insane. He's like a real-life superhero.
Exactly. And it's that dedication that makes his performances so believable. You're not just watching, you're right there with him, feeling the danger and the excitement.
And you gotta wonder, does his own love for adventure play into it? I mean, the guy owns a P-51 Mustang, a real one, and he's a licensed pilot. It's like his real life is as exciting as his movies, which makes him even more interesting to watch?
Totally. It all adds to this larger-than-life persona, this image of a guy who does the impossible. But we have to remember that's just one side of him. And like a lot of celebrities, it's his personal life, his relationships, his beliefs that have really been in the spotlight sometimes for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and when it comes to Tom Cruise, it seems like everyone's got an opinion about his personal life, right?
Totally. Especially with everything so out there, on his Wikipedia page and all.
Right. His marriages, especially with Nicole Kidman and Katie Holmes, I mean, those were huge media events.
Absolutely. And then there's Scientology, which, let's be honest, has always been a bit of a lightning rod.
Yeah, it's definitely sparked a lot of debate. But you know what I found interesting? The Wikipedia article, it mostly avoids all the speculation and drama. It just lays out the facts.
Yeah.
His marriages, his kids, his involvement with Scientology.
Right. It sticks to a neutral tone, which is important, especially with something as sensitive as Scientology.
Mhm.
It's easy to get caught up in all the opinions and controversies, but at the end of the day, people can do their own research and make up their own minds.
Exactly. I mean, his beliefs are his beliefs, and while they're out there, they don't necessarily define everything about him, right? He's still an amazing actor and filmmaker.
Totally. It's like that saying, separating the art from the artist.
Yeah.
And with Cruise, it's clear his talent and his impact on Hollywood are huge, regardless of anyone's personal views on Scientology or his personal life.
So true. And I think that's what makes him so fascinating. Even after all these years, he's still pushing boundaries. Like, who else could convince someone to let them film a movie in space?
Right. It's like he's living a real-life mission. Impossible.
Mm.
He could easily relax and enjoy his success. But no, he's still out there, raising the bar for everyone.
It's incredible. And honestly, this whole deep dive into his Wikipedia page has been so eye-opening. I feel like I learned a lot, not just about his career, but about him as a person.
Me too. It's
Uh,
amazing what you can find on Wikipedia if you take the time to really dig in.
For sure. And you never know, maybe this will inspire some of our listeners to do a little Wikipedia deep dive of their own.
I hope so. You never know what you might find.
Well said. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, folks.